Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Raging Hot Mic podcast. I hope you all are having a good week. Today, we'll be talking about the story making the grounds on social media. During the 10th coronation anniversary of the Oni of Ife, Oba Ade Yeye Ogunwusi, the wife of the president, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, was conferred with the chieftaincy title of Yeye Ashiwaju Gbogbo Ile Odua. That happened this weekend. So during the ceremony, the governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke, was singing praises, and this is something he normally does. He likes to dance, he likes to make fun of everything. And while he was singing praises during the ceremony, the wife of the president herself, not her aide, not anyone attached to her, not her PA, but herself, felt obliged, stood up, went to the governor standing on the podium with the seal of the governor on the podium. She went there, and then twice. The first one, she went there, talked to him. The second one, it is alleged and reported that in the second, when she went up the second time, she said, "I'm giving you 5 minutes to finish your speech. The music is enough. That is not what I asked you to do. That is not what the governor's or the president's wife is saying. That is not what she asked a democratically elected governor to do in his own state. I asked you." So she's the one in charge. She's commanding him. She's not elected. That is not what I asked you to do. I will turn off the microphone, stop the music. So she's ordering the governor that she was going to turn off the microphone. I don't know when the wife of the president became an MC. I don't know when the wife of the president became a host. I don't know when the wife of the president became the one hosting an event or became the one that was in charge of the event in terms of regulating the event. She was ordering a democratically elected governor that she was going to turn off the mic. Now, if you're watching us, smash the like button, subscribe, drop your comments, ask any questions you want, and then tell us any topic you want us to cover or you want me to cover, and then I will do just right. I will do just that. Let me go back to this event. Now, first of all, this is happening in Osun State. This is not happening in Abuja. This is not happening anywhere. Now, the problem I have with this is that it sends a wrong precedent, or it sends a wrong message, not just to the average Nigerians, but to everybody in power. It makes it look like the governor can be tossed around and can be manipulated and dealt with anyhow people want, which is extremely wrong. First of all, this is a disrespect of constitutional authority, because the governor, not only is he a governor, but he stood for election. He contested an election. He went through a rigorous process of obtaining from contesting in the primary, contesting in the general election. Now, there's what is called separation of power, right? Now, I will use the American system for example, right? Now, if you're living in Michigan, if you're living in Pennsylvania, or wherever state you're living in, let's assume you're living in a blue state. When I mean a blue state, I mean a state controlled by the Democrats, right? And the rest state controlled by the Republicans, right? Now, even in Michigan, even in Pennsylvania, there are structures, there are land, there are offices that are called federal buildings, right? You go to like the statistics board in Maryland, like there's so many buildings or so many structures that are federal structures. In those very buildings or in those very structures, it doesn't look at it's not really about who's the governor. It's about it's about the federal government. So the executive director of those departments or whoever is in charge of those departments supersedes the governor. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So now, if a governor is walking into maybe the Bureau of Statistics, for example, in Maryland, that particular building doesn't belong to the state. So whatever the director of that building of Bureau of Statistics or Walter Reed Hospital, for example, in Baltimore, or the National Health Insurance or whatever, those buildings, directors call the shots. A governor can't walk there and determine what happens. Even a governor can be walked out of those buildings if the director demands, because that is a federal building. So that building belongs to the federal government, is more of federal hierarchy. But away from that, to the state building, to the state department, now to maybe a school in Maryland, to maybe anywhere, if it is a school in Maryland, even the president doesn't have authority in that school. The governor of the state can walk out the president even in a school, because that is a state. That belongs to the state. Yes, the federal government can be giving the state some grants and all those, but it doesn't dictate to the state what to do in a state building. That particular area belongs to a state. So you can say this is an event, and this is why it is done that way, to protect the state and the federal government. And that is why the powers are easily separated. It happens, it's the same thing with the local government and the state government. So this event right now was happening in Osun State during the weekend. It was happening in Ile-Ife. So it is also the state governor who appoints the Oni of Ife at the end. So that particular event should be anchored by the state governor, even if the wife of the president is being coronated or is being given a chieftaincy title. So that event is a state event. It's in his state. He is the chief security officer of the state. So to watch him being disgraced like this, first of all, the wife of the president is not elected. It's not respected by the constitution. There's nothing like office of the first lady in the constitution. If you read the constitution from beginning to end, you can never see anywhere they say office of the first lady. This is just an office that was just created because our people love power, because the people want to be relevant. This is an office that is created just because they want the president's wife to feel a sense of belonging. But this is the same reason, now looking back, why I feel the people who made the constitution or wrote the constitution didn't give her a position, because of behaviors like this. Because most first ladies will feel that they can always override anyone, including the governor, which is extremely wrong. So the first lady, Remi Tinubu, believes her position is higher than of an elected governor. I don't understand why she thinks like that. I should read the constitution. This is one of the reasons why this happens, is because we don't really win elections in Nigeria. We don't. This sort of thing in a developed world can cause a president to resign. When his wife acts this way, you see within an hour the president will disassociate himself from the behavior of the wife and then condemn it immediately. Because now it focuses on the wife's behavior and not on the president. In front of the people of Osun State, and you treat their governor this way? This is, if I tell you guys, because they don't win elections in Nigeria. There are no consequences. Whatever they do, they're going to return him to power. They are going to return. It is the presidency who decides who goes for Senate, who goes for governor. Now, most of the governors are going to the APC. And automatically, the president is saying you can return automatically. And you think they will not disrespect the governors this way? When a president is saying, just come to APC and then there will be no primary for you. You will return automatically and then I'll make sure that you become a president. That is not what he said in public, but that is what the body language is saying. And that is what always happens. And when that sort of thing happens to governors, when their future depends on how they align with the presidency, their future depends on how the presidency perceives them, not on how the people perceive them, then the governors will always be treated this way. Because the presidency have lost respect for them because they are the one that installed them, not even appointed, installed. So you always see this kind of behavior, because even a minister has more respect than a governor, because the minister's relationship with the president is more of mutual, is more with ministers more than they have with governors. So if he doesn't have any relationship or little or no relationship, if a president has little or no relationship with the governor, and then a governor wins re-election simply because he aligns with the presidency, that means he can't be respected. The governor will always be loyal, not to the constitution, not to the people, but be loyal to the presidency who installed them, and the family and the friends and cronies of the president. This is not what is obtainable in foreign countries or developed countries. No, this is not. But it is obtainable in Nigeria because INEC every year budgets billions and billions of dollars and naira, claims it conducts election, and the results are not different from whatever we've had. You now start asking yourself, is there any reason for conducting elections? Maybe we should just have saved that money and use it maybe to invest in schools and invest in healthcare. Because if you claim you're conducting election and yet this sort of behavior is what we keep getting, then there's no need for election. Now that shows you the return of patronic politics in over protocol in Nigeria, where the elites or the elites feel they are more superior to those who are elected. Where you have the wife of the, first of all, whatever she did, she could have, the secretary, her PA or whoever works with her could have easily just dropped a note for the governor on top of his table, telling him. Also, when you are doing such events, there are supposed to be a master of ceremony. There's supposed to be somebody who has the authority to anchor the program. There's supposed to be somebody who is trained, who organizes such events, who is the one that determines what happens with the event after he's been given hints on how they want it to go. But on that day, there wasn't. It is the wife of the first lady who calls the shot on that very day. After 1 hour, she can decide no other person talks. Let's just go straight to the point. In Nigeria, you don't have those sort of thing. You don't have master of ceremony. It is the first lady, it is the governor, it is the chairman, it is whoever that is celebrating that determines what happens at that very instance. So that tells you, if she talks to a governor, if the governor this way, how does she talk to her staff? How does she talk to everyone who works under her or works with her? How does she talk to the members of the House of Assembly, How does she talk to senators? How does she talk to ministers? How does she talk to people around her? If she could publicly tell a governor, and she knew the governor was mic'd on because there was mic there, if she publicly should tell him she will turn off the mic in public, that tells you how insubordinate she is. Now, as if that is not enough, the governor, his silence, is it that of humiliation or is it more political submission? It's both. Two things can be read at the same time. Like I said, the governor's silence, Governor Adeleke's silence, is more of political submission because he wants a re-election. Even if he didn't want a re-election, he won't pick a fight on that very day. He wouldn't. Because in Nigerian politics, your survival as a governor depends entirely on the presidency. A survivor as a senator depends entirely on the presidency. It's not on you. That now makes it clear why these people don't deliver dividends of democracy. No, because they're not accountable to us. They're accountable to the president. They're accountable to those in Abuja and not to us. So they will continue to treat us the way they are treating us because we don't have a say. Bow down and leave. Even in the Senate, when they're supposed to scrutinize ministerial appointees, they tell them, bow down and leave. Bow down and leave. Drop your paper, bow down and leave. So what does it mean? It means that person, whenever he goes, he's been appointed, he's not going to respect people who he's supposed to work for. These guys serve us. They're using taxpayers' money to do whatever they're doing. But they don't respect us because their survival or political career don't depend on us. They depend on who is the president. And as if that is not enough, after the incident, the president's wife, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, doubled down. Instead of apologizing, instead of dropping a comment and then apologizing, she dropped a social media post saying those entrusted with leadership understand their duties and how to steer the affairs of the society. More often, it is the followers and critics who scrutinize every step, amplify minor mistakes, and turn them into limitless controversy. So what is she? She's making us look like fools. You see what I'm saying? Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu just dropped this on social media today. So she claims that we don't understand leadership. I'll put it to her, she doesn't understand leadership. Her own style of leadership is leadership of bullying. And that is not leadership. That is not how you lead. You don't lead by not taking correction. You don't. We saw it in public. It's not like we didn't see. We saw it. We saw how she humiliated a governor. I don't care if they are close or not. That's none of our business. He was elected by his people. She was never elected. And she humiliates him and she claims that we are turning minor missteps into needless controversy. How is it needless controversy? That she talked to the governor the way she talked to him, telling him she will cut his mic, and we are holding her accountable, and she claims we don't understand leadership. We don't know how to steer there. That is why there's no development. Look at poverty. World Bank claims there are more than 139 million Nigerians are going to slide into extreme poverty this year. 139 out of how many? 200 and something million. How many? You look at insecurity. You know how many millions Nigerians have been abducted just this year alone? You look at inflation. You look at unemployment. Is that the sort of leadership she understands? Is that the sort of leadership the president understands? The leadership of taking out oil subsidy, of fuel subsidy, and making things worse without necessary planning? The leadership of bullying? Leadership of PDP members, opposition members going to the APC and then not facing a primary challenger? Leadership of INEC claiming there's a glitch in the results? Is that the leadership that we don't understand, that only the presidency understands? Man, this is some bull job, man. This is a BS. That's so much BS over there. That is just BS. You disgrace a governor and you double down on that, telling us we don't understand leadership. I don't want to understand that sort of leadership. Count me out. I'm not interested in understand leadership of bullying, leadership of corruption. No, I'm not. I keep saying it. We should hold our leaders accountable. We should call them out when they go wrong. We will not get tired and we'll continue to do that. Thanks everyone. Have a good one. Remain blessed.